Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name's Jeremiah Krakowski, and if you haven't listened to this podcast before, I talk about ways for you to grow your business, reach more customers, get more leads and clients, and sell more in your business, as well as some mindset strategy to help you grow in your life. I believe that if you can grow in a business, it grows your life and impacts every part of how you live. Now, if you're not in the hashtag Grow Your Life Facebook group, please join that. There's over 1,500 people in there just like yourself that are growing their life and their business every single week. As well, anybody who listens to this podcast, you can schedule a 15-minute call with me on my website for free, where I help you in your business talk about strategizing how to get you from where you are to where you want to be. These are not sales calls. I promise that. I put my word on that I'm not going to pitch you on these calls. This is a time for me to hear from you, to hear from my audience. What are you going through so I can make better episodes, better products, better social media content, all of that. And that's kind of what I'm going to go into here today, is a framework for your content creation, specifically on social media, to make it easy for you. How can you easily make social media content without it taking a lot of time? Well, when you get feedback from your audience, it makes it very easy. That's why I've done this podcast. That's why I did the hashtag on my Instagram. That's why I try to get comments and feedback from people. That's why I do these 15-minute calls with people, is it grows my business and I sell more specifically when I'm hearing from more people. The more people that you are engaging with, the better your content will be, because the idea is you just make content that's serving the people that are talking with you and engaging and watching you the most. And so I have a few different ways of doing that. The free calls are one of them. Well, I'm actually talking to people, hearing what they're going through, and I make content that just directly speaks to solutions like that. If I can find as many people like those that I talk to on the phone, little hint here, there's a pattern across the board of all of my listeners, all of my people on social media, all the people that buy my courses, and all the people that do the 15-minute calls with me, and the ones that I do one-on-one coaching with. Especially the ones that I do one-on-one coaching with are ones they have a business up and running, but they want to scale and get more sales. And that's who does the one-on-one coaching with me. And we've helped many people grow to 7 figures in sales in this last year, as well as people getting their first 5 to 10 sales, making a couple $1,000s. So I help people go from zero to a couple $1,000s all the way up to 6 and 7 figures when I do one-on-one coaching with people. My content is essentially what gets me in front of the most people. Content strategy is purely marketing. How do I engage with the people that maybe they're not at that level yet to be a paid client, but they will probably buy a course from me, or at some point in time in the future when they grow to a certain place? That's my goal, is get them to where they can build a business and are ready to coach at that higher level. So I'm still speaking to the same person. Essentially, you are my one-on-one coaching clients before they were building their business, or while they're building their business. So it's all the same type of pattern of person, but I'm speaking at a different place in the customer journey. I want you to think about maybe a baseball player. They go through high school, get drafted, minor leagues, and they work themselves up to the major leagues. And so when I'm coaching with people, that's kind of like the majors right there. My courses is kind of like the minors. My podcast and my content on my social media is kind of like the high school level. It's the same person. It's the same player. You're the same business owner who's in the game, but you might be at a different level. So the way that I speak to people on each platform is specific to starting level, reaching the widest net of people, because there's more people that are starting out, right, than are experienced. That's just logic. So I'm speaking to the more people that have the same issues that the ones that got to the top had, so that I can help raise everybody up. And that's the content strategy that I use based on the feedback that I get from people. So how do you read that feedback? Well, you ask questions for one, you start talking with your audience, you start having a connection with people. And this is one of the biggest things I think that a lot of people just get really kind of stuck on, is they're afraid to connect with real human beings. They're afraid to talk to actual humans one-on-one and hear from them what they're going through. For you to successfully build a business, and I'm going to tell you this, you're going to have to connect with, communicate, and talk with other human beings, like legitimately, with empathy. You have to develop those empathy muscles. You have to grow those muscles of empathy, of understanding what are people going through. And one thing that I know is a lot of the people that listen to my podcast, that engage on my social media, they need to grow in this area of their people skills, of their empathy, of reading people, of being able to understand what do other people experience in their lives. I think oftentimes as business owners, we can get so caught up in the results that we want, and that's the wrong focus. We need to be focusing on the solution and the results that our customers get. And you do that by knowing who your customer is. How do you know who your customer is? You talk to them. You might say, well, I don't have any customers. This is the probably one of the biggest excuses that I hear from people. I don't have any customers. Okay. What are you going to build a business and do? If you don't have a business or you don't have anything that you're selling, I'll go into that in a sec. But if you do, you have something that you sell, there's a certain type of person that buys that product. Where do they engage? What websites do they go to? What books do they read? What Facebook groups are they in? What YouTube videos? You can read comments and reviews on books on Amazon. You can read comments on YouTube. You can read posts and comments in Facebook groups. You can look at influencers on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok to see how are people engaging with other people that are selling what you're selling. If you're in a niche that's maybe like CBD oil or something like that, think about the people that are the influencers in that niche. What content are they putting out, and what are the things that people are saying, and how do they engage? When you're in the beginning, you're going to model somebody that's been successful at it already. You know, if you're somebody that wants to sell courses, create a podcast, and coach people that are business owners, model myself. Model this. I've helped many people and have built companies to 7 figures doing this exact model that I'm doing right now, and it works. If you're looking to model somebody that is running an agency, find a successful agency owner and model the type of content that they put out. Model the type of interactions that they have, and then look at what are the gaps where maybe they're not serving people as much. And then I think this is where people get caught up in their head, is overthinking and overanalyzing. What are the things that the audience needs? What are the things that these customers in this niche need? What are the things that they need help with? Our noble goal, it's a noble, honorable strategy or desire to do the right thing and say the right thing and post the right thing on social media. But at the end of the day, you're not ever going to. When you come to grips with that fact, that most of what you put on social media is probably not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the viral post, and you just stop seeking after that, and you just start posting what's on your mind, what's going to help serve the audience. How can I communicate and connect with people? How can I hear back from them? It's not about you. It's not about your story. It's about telling the story of your customers back to them, and then pointing them to the solutions that they're looking for. That's what I do with this podcast. I know that a lot of my audience wants to know how to create content on social media. I tell your story back to you and point you to the solution. And so that's the first step. Get feedback. If you don't have feedback, borrow somebody else's customers' feedback. You can do that by just looking at the comments. It's the same human beings. It's the same people. And if you're using Facebook ads, those same people are engaging with your content. They're engaging, they're who you're going to target with Facebook ads. And in my course, Social Media Ads That Work, that's what I show you how to do, is how to do that targeting, how to build the artificial intelligence targeting on Facebook and Instagram to find people better. There's a lot of changes coming down the pipeline with Facebook and Instagram ads that Apple's doing that may cut off 44% of the market from running ads properly. How do we work around this? By consistently making content that serves our target audience and serves our target customers. By talking to them in a way that honors where somebody's at in their life by repeating their story back to them, by asking questions. Now, ultimately as well, you want to do a mix of some content, some fun content, some engagement. What is the vibe that people are really wanting? As you put out more content, see, here's the part the second part that a lot of people miss. Once you get that feedback coming in your content, once you get the feedback going, you get some data, you can then analyze that data. You can then look at it and decide, what's working the best. And there's a number of different ways to do that. I'm actually going to show you here one of my favorite ways. If you're on the video version of this podcast, I'm going to pull it up here right around 10 minutes and 48 seconds in on my page here to show you on the screen. Okay, so here's my screen right here. And we're going to go under Insights. And in the upper corner of Insights on my page, there's a little tab in the upper right corner that says Export Data. And you can go to Post Data, and it'll export the last 500 posts that then you can sort and rank by their engagement numbers. So that's something that I was able to do here. Is I was able to create a list of my working social media posts. So you're going to see this right here on the screen. These are all these different posts right here, and I have them sorted out. These are the last 2 years of posts from me. And I can sort it in Excel by lifetime post engagement reach, engaged users. I can see how many of them are from paid, and sort it by just organic. You can do how many are commenting and sharing. I can scroll down and see all that type of engagement numbers. You can see negative feedback, which, by the way, not all negative feedback is bad. And so you're able to get those numbers. And how do you analyze this data? Well, you basically get a psychological picture of your audience through this. I'll do the same thing through Instagram. I'll go here on Instagram and pull up the posts that are getting the most engagement. And you've often probably heard me say, don't post for engagement. While that is true, you don't want to just post for engagement, because if you're only posting for engagement, that will actually hurt you in the long run. You do want to look at what type of posts, what emotion people are resonating with, and what category that they're really resonating with. So for instance, memes work really well, photographs work really well, and stuff that helps motivate people that maybe lack a certain level of confidence works really well for my audience. So if I can do anything that helps people feel courageous, anything that helps, kind of cheerlead them on in their business, that gets the most engagement for me. So I know, okay, I need to make more cheerleader type content. I need to cheer people on more. Is that something that, to be honest, naturally, it's funny, I don't naturally gravitate towards doing that the most with people. I'm just kind of like, let's get to work, let's do the job. But I know that it's going to get me in front of the right people, the people that I need to engage with, and the people that will work with me when I do that. So knowing that, I have shifted my strategy to doing that more, to being that more encouraging level. And so encouragement on social media really does work well. I'm not really somebody that believes in building a platform on controversy. And so if you can encourage people, or you maybe say something like, it's one of those things like something that we're all thinking but not willing to say. It's not quite controversial, but it's like everybody knows it's true type of a thing. Posting truth, that type of content works really well as well. Now, what doesn't work is hypercritical content. Judgment, criticizing people, putting them down. Unless people feel like they can carry a torch and put another person down. That's another topic. If we're burning somebody else at the stake, that content goes really high. If I'm basically pointing out a flaw in my social media audience, no engagement. And oftentimes this is where I think a lot of people miss it with making social media content. They start posting a lot of truth-based content, and it's essentially being very judgmental towards their audience. I was making this mistake for a while. And people just, they don't want that. They don't want to be told what they're doing wrong. They'd like to rather be told what's the right way to do it. And that's what gets the most engagement. That's what gets the most results on social media. And then as you build trust and rapport with people, you can point out that this is what's not working. This is what is working in the courses, in my podcast, in my coaching calls. As you build trust and rapport with people, you can point out and point people to what they need to change and what they need to do differently. And so keep that in mind with the social media content. Do more of the types of posts that get the most engagement. And again, I'm not talking about the words that it says, but it's more the angle, the perspective that it comes from. If I'm saying something that's very a critical angle, I could literally say that same thing in a more empowering way and it will get engagement. So it's just kind of shifting that angle. You're able to look at, the more you put content out there, you're able to look at what's the angle that my audience wants to see more of from me. And then you're able to build an audience that way. And again, I show you how to do that in the course, Social Media Ads That Work, how to build an audience through your content. You're able to create lookalike audiences like the people that are engaging with your content and promote it out to those people to then bring in more people to you. And ultimately, this leads to sales. Ultimately, this leads to people working with you. How do you sell through this? Well, you seed what you offer in it. You'll notice a lot of my content, I will seed maybe just mentioning. I mentioned twice on this podcast, my ads course, and twice my free calls and my coaching. So you are aware that I offer that. I have made you aware of it. Have I gone into a sales pitch about either of those? No. But I've used this free piece of content here to make you aware of what I offer. And so that's how you can use your social media, is you bring awareness to people about what you offer. Then you can retarget some ads to people with the products that you offer specifically to get them to go buy from you for just a couple bucks a day in ad spend. That's the whole $5 to $10 a day model that is helping make people six figures in their businesses and ultimately leads to seven figures. And so when you look at your content, you're able to analyze what is the angle, the perspective, the emotion, the vibe that my audience is engaging with the most. Start serving the issues that people are having. Start asking questions of your audience. And then start talking about those things. And here's another area where I think people get mixed up, is they have a message that they know is going to help their audience. And they're driving home this message that's going to help bring transformation. And nobody's engaging with it because they're not meeting their audience where they're at. It may seem elementary. It may seem childish. It may seem insignificant to post fluffy, happy content. But if it points people to what's going to bring transformation, it's the most effective way to do that, because you're able to lead people with what they want to see on the social media. You're able to lead them to what is going to get them a result. Am I telling you to go post yourself naked on social media? No, not at all. There's obviously standards and convictions and things that you are willing to do and not willing to do. I'm not saying to sacrifice that to be somebody that you're not. At the end of the day, though, you may need to adjust your angle of what you think people want to see on social media and dumb it down a little bit. Ultimately, that's the best word for it. Simplify it. Keep it simple. Speak from that simple angle, and then as that trust and rapport is built, you're able to have that deeper impact with people. You could even do a fluffy comment to open something up, a fluffy post, and then in the comments, you can break down the deeper thoughts of it with the people that are engaging. See? So now you're having a conversation with your audience. You're talking back with them. This is not a one-way street. When you do this, you are able to read, hear, and understand what does your audience want and point them to products and services that you offer that serve the needs that they have. That's the formula for social media content. That's the formula that gets results. It's not more complicated than that, my friends. Now, you might say, well, I just don't know what to post. I think this is like kind of the last thing that I hear people say. Post something. It's better than nothing. Are you going to say it perfectly? Probably not. And this is one of those areas where I think just personal development, even some therapy, even dealing with a lot of times people, if you're afraid, if you literally can't post anything because you don't know what to say, that many times is connected to possibly some trauma in the past of when you've made a mistake and not done something perfectly in your life. You got punished for it or there were consequences. And so maybe there's a fear that there may be negative consequences if you don't make your content perfect. I'm here to tell you there's not any. You'd have to really go off the deep end for there to be that level of negative consequences. You might think, you only have one chance at a first impression. I don't want to post anything bad that people don't want to see. Again, that's the wrong way of thinking about social media. I'm just going to say it. If you gotten to this point in this, I think I can shoot straight with you. Start posting something. Just start engaging with people. Is it going to be right? Is it going to be perfect? 99.9% of the time, it never will be for anybody who has posted on social media and made social media content. The act of getting started imperfectly and it not being right, quote unquote, will get you to where it will be eventually, but you got to get started from that imperfect level. Otherwise, you're not going to get there, that where it will be, quote unquote, the right thing. And so you have to essentially take a risk, put yourself out there, be seen and be heard, possibly look silly, definitely most of the time say the wrong things a lot, and be okay with that to learn what the right things are. When you can be okay with that, embrace that process fully, all in with that process, and not get disappointed by the lack of the numbers. Not attach your happiness, not attach your certainty, not attach your safety and security in life to how much engagement you're getting or if people are talking back to you. When you can just start posting where you don't care if they engage or not, you just start talking with people, you just start engaging, you just start posting on social media. You literally just do it. That's it. That will get you over that hump of, I don't know what to say and I can't come up with content fast enough and taking so much time to come up with it. How much time do I spend coming up with content? Very little. Now I've been going over and kind of pre-planning a lot of stuff out. This last week I spent a lot of time doing content, but I batch produced content for the next 2 weeks. And so now I don't need to spend a whole lot of time doing that. What I do is if I have an idea, I literally just kind of pop my phone out and do it now. Instead of needing the perfect background or the perfect moment in my day or the perfect. Just kill the word perfect in your mind when it comes to social media content creation. There's no such thing as the perfect anything. Once you realize that, you can literally start to make content anywhere and not worry about, is it going to be the right time? Am I going to say the right things? As you do this, as you just experiment, as you just start putting yourself out there, taking that risk of putting yourself out there, introverts and extroverts, by the way, both. This isn't separated based on what personality type you are. Because I know a lot of extroverts that are scared and a lot of introverts that aren't at doing this. And so don't believe that it's a personality type issue is why you're not doing this. When you start putting yourself out there, when you start making content, written content, videos, graphics made in Canva, whatever that is, you keep it simple. Do what you can do. Instead of focusing so much on what's not working, getting stressed out and overwhelmed about how you're not doing it right, do what you can do and make it as simple as possible for you. You don't want to spend more than a few minutes thinking about a piece of social media content. What I do now is if something stands out to me, if I'm thinking about it throughout my day, if I'm thinking about it when I'm interacting with people, if I'm thinking about it when I'm talking with people, engaging on my social media content, my lifestyle has become this way where I'm thinking about content for my audience because this is my full-time income. This is my full-time thing. This is my thing that I do and I help people with. So I made a decision. That's what I'm doing. When you do that, when you make a decision that your business is your full-time income and you act like a professional, you start building like a pro, you'll start thinking about your customers subconsciously without even thinking. And you'll think about, oh yeah, this would really help them. Boom, I pop it open, piece of content. You know how long that took me? 2 minutes. And then I just upload it. I just type a little caption, upload it. Or here's what I'll do. I'll record like a bunch of content. I'll put it in a folder and then I'll take like 30 minutes at the end of the day and just type up a bunch of the different captions. And then a lot of those as well turn into podcasts, blog posts, emails that go out, additional pieces of content. If a piece of content's getting a lot of engagement, I'll break down the different chunks of it, different pieces and parts about it. You know, it might be one concept, but I'll break down part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in more detail for people. If you're doing Reels, if you're doing TikTok, 15 seconds on the camera, download the InShot app. I think it's like $10 for a year. The InShot app lets you add like text onto your videos like this for TikTok and Instagram Reels. And now I've been doing some like fun stuff, like some funny videos, different things like that too, mixing that up, adding all that in there. But it ultimately points back to, you know, business. It all points back to schedule a call with me, listen to my podcast, buy my courses, get coaching. I'm engaging with what do my audience want that are listening to this podcast, the ones that coach with me, the ones that I talk to every single day, giving that to them. And then I can lead them to what they need with ads by just soft mentioning it, by people knowing my website has all my information on it. And so for you, that's the same thing for you. That's the same method no matter what product or service you sell. Is you're engaging with the people first. Know more about the people, what they're dealing with, what they're struggling with, what their goals are, what their frustrations are, than you do your product. Talk to them, connect with them, communicate with them, connect with the human beings that will buy from you. Build trust and rapport, and then lead them to purchase from you. And that will create sales in your business. All right? So again, if you haven't scheduled a 15-minute call with me, I'd love to talk with you specifically about your business. What you do specifically. You can go over to my website, jeremiahkrakowski.com/free call, and we can talk about that together and make a plan to get you to the next level in your business. Again, it's not a sales call. It's a time for us to break down specifically what your business has going on and get one key element that we can tweak and adjust that can get you results this week. So you can go to my website, jeremiahkrakowski.com/free call and schedule that call with me. As well, if this podcast has helped you, please share it with somebody. I also am giving away a 30-minute call. If you leave hashtag grow your life on my Instagram, you can win a 30-minute call with me on my Instagram by leaving hashtag grow your life on there. All right. We'll talk soon, everybody. Have a good one.